Hey, this is Dan. This is the Video Game Collecting Podcast. Hey, this is your host, Dan. This is the Video Game Collecting Podcast, and this episode is going to be about a project that I've kind of hinted a little bit at, and it's the marketplace that we're debuting on October 15th, Minus Worlds. I had a friend ask if I was going to do a podcast episode about the marketplace, and I thought, you know what, that's actually a really good idea. That way I could kind of just sit down and, really explain this marketplace that's debuting and why I'm doing it and what I hope, to accomplish. And it's, to me, very important that that this marketplace does succeed, not just business-wise, but because I do think it's needed for the community and the marketplace, the overall, market. But yeah, so Minus Worlds, what is that? Friend Tom Curtin had this great screen handle, I think, back in the Nintendo Age days, and I asked him, I go, hey, can I use that name for the marketplace? And he was kind enough to let me. So that's the name. It's minusworlds.com. So it's exciting that really gave me a good foundation to get this going. And there was many different ways to go with it. But the core of Minus Worlds is a fixed price anonymous marketplace. Now, I've said it before. I feel like I'm shocked that there has not been one for us, and what is that? Let's jump into what is a fixed price anonymous marketplace. Really not that complicated. Basically, if you're a buyer and seller, sellers put up items for sale and buyers buy them, and the seller gets to stay anonymous and the buyer gets exactly what they ordered. And to me, there's many different marketplaces that do this. If it's StubHub, StockX is another one for sneakers, and it really shocked me that there wasn't this for video games. But with that being said, after a while, I kept on saying, how is this not here? How is this not here? Someone better make this. Someone better make this. And I even told people that could, that might be able to do it. I was telling them that they should. Eventually, I decided, I just got to do it. Luckily, I have experience in consignment and a lot of the very similar stuff. So from that point, for months and months and months, I've been hammering away at trying to make the idea of Minus Worlds a reality. It was very important to me that it's not just something that comes up and tries to make money. That's actually... I won't say the complete opposite, because it has to be, financially stable to be in business. But, it really is needed in this, in this hobby, because as I said, I've said this on other podcasts, auction places have been great. Like I do think something like Heritage, having that stability of like, if you send a game there, it's, you're not going to have to worry about buyers. You don't have to think about that stuff. And really kind of just send them games, and it, hopefully they put in the right place, but it works out, that kind of convenience, that kind of stability, it is kind of what I wanted for day to day. Like if you're looking for a game, that you have minusworlds.com to go to and browse for that game and see, even if it's too expensive, to just see, okay, there is one on the market at this price. And that to me is very important, that at any time you could research games, look what games are on the market at what price. Now people will say eBay, right? eBay, I buy off eBay. I've been using eBay for 25 years. I don't know, 30. I know when I was selling little Star Wars figures when I was maybe not even 10 years old, my dad did eBay from the very beginning, 1999. So 22 years. So I'm a little bit off, but if I needed money, I'd just sell one of my figures for $45 or whatever, and it'd keep me good for a month. Now I spend that on lunch. Have a few kids, so it's expensive. But no, eBay has served well in ways of having somewhere, just anywhere to, be able to buy and sell games. But I feel like it could be done a lot better, and that's where Minus Worlds comes in. I cannot stand when I order something from a seller and get tissue, reused Amazon boxes. I honestly don't even want to touch the inside of the box most of the time. Sometimes reeks of cigarettes, whatever. It's a horrible experience, especially if you're new to the market. So, Minus Worlds is kind of just the place that I kind of feel like it comes together all the ways we want to fix video game market. That's what I, have that in mind. How do we make each process the best it can be? So, the first things first, let's go over, for the buyers, buyers, it is a horrible experience. Everything outside the auction houses, is pretty horrible. And I still think the auction houses have ways to improve, but you know what? They are a very safe, reliable, and they have great items. I applaud them. They're great people over there. But, that's once every 3 months or whatever. So, with that said, as a buyer, you hear about video games. You heard about it. There's a sale for $2 million, and you just want to look up, hey, I wonder how much Blitz 2000 goes for nowadays for N64. You go onto eBay. Very likely, you're not going to find it, and you have zero clue. Well, that's unfortunate. There goes one person that might have bought that game, that might have had a great experience in our crazy community and became a member of our community, but now they're just, they move on. They look maybe a little bit more online and they Google some stuff and they move on. Well, I kind of feel any day, 24/7, there should be a place people could look up games that there's the inventory there, sitting there for someone to buy. And as a buyer, I think that's important, and I really did tweak the site to really accommodate the new buyers, because I think that's very important, but also the people that have been in a long time, like being able to search by variants and such, that's very important, and really to make this digestible. I should have said this in the beginning, but as far as I know, this will be the first solely dedicated video game market website. This isn't a side project. It's 100% video games, to start. So with that being said, when we're building this site, we're building it from scratch. We're not using a Shopify, template, or we're really customizing this to be the best thing it can be. And, unfortunately, it costs a lot of money to do that. But, we decided to do website first, and it'll be mobile compatible. And in time, we'll make an app once we kind of figure out what exactly we want out of the app, because a lot of this is a learning process. I do think the processes are pretty airtight, but, we're going to learn how to evolve this to be the best it can be every day. If something goes wrong, we're going to learn from that, and also if there's a problem, we're going to take responsibility. That's something that's important, that I feel that, if the Minus Worlds makes a mistake, we're going to stand up to it. We're going to take responsibility, and that's really important. And so, yeah, no, buyers, they're taken care of, but also there's that process of the game gets shipped out within 72 hours after placing the order, and, probably business hours, but we'll just say 72 hours. And, within a few days, they get tracking, and they get a clean product box. We made these custom boxes for the graded video games. Now, it was important to me that we can ship stuff quick, but the more importantly, it's just how someone opens up that box and receives their game. I've said this before. It's like, I know when I get a game in, it is like a gift at Christmas, a gift at Christmas morning. You're opening up, you're excited, and nothing's worse than, having a bad experience there. So, we spent a lot of money custom making boxes to one, safely ship the games, but two, of presenting the games correct as we see it, for the buyer, that they have a great experience and that they want to come back to be part of this community. And that's important to me, because, you know, in the very beginning, we're all so unsure about everything, but if, you know, you'll feel a little bit better going through this process, I think. And that's the goal, right? So for the buyers, that's great. And also, I know I'm jumping around a bit here. For potential buyers, if you don't see the game you want, you could put out a bounty that you could put up the different grading companies that you might want, the grade and the price range, and you could put up a bounty and someone can try to claim it, saying that they have that game and they're willing to sell it to you. And we'll, you know, be in the middle of that and try to make sure that everything lines up and it's successful. And that way, there's never a moment where someone's just, they looked and they're out of luck. It's like, no, you know, we still got a chance to try to make it right. And, you know, that's the fun of this, is just looking at different ways to making it right, and where we, you know, in the past have tried to, you know, how some places have fallen short for us, and where we want to, you know, figure out ways to make it better. Now, a lot of times, to go back to the overall company, because that's a lot of the buyer stuff, I say we a lot. I want to make sure that no one accuses us to being ran by someone else or whatever. You know, I understand that happens. But this is owned, a company that I'm running. There's no hidden backers. There's no, hidden agendas. You know, I want to make sure that that's kind of stated, you know, here, because to me, you know, it's something that, is important. You know, I've had many great people, and actually I take it as the biggest compliment. People have asked, like, hey, if you need investing, you know, investors and such, they want to take part. And that's a huge compliment, because that shows to me how much they believe in what we're doing. You know, that's important, you know. The company, Minus Worlds, has an office in Santa Cruz, California. All games will be shipped there and, inspected and then shipped out. You know, if there's large enough sellers, we have kicked around the idea of having them shipped directly, but we're still, for the beginning, everything will be shipped and go through us to make sure that the buyer's getting that exact experience. All games will be graded games, because we want the buyer to get exactly what they, you know, ordered. And and for the sellers, there's no discrepancy of like, okay, well, the buyer wasn't happy. Well, no, you know, we want this to be all, you know, we want this to be so there's no returns for the seller's sake, because if someone buys a graded game, and, you know, that the seller did their part, and that's important, that, you know, they don't have to worry about it. But that gives a little bit of leeway to little setup for myself on sellers. So as a seller, you know, you really, selling on eBay, dealing with people is not fun. It is not. And we all really worry about that one situation that you're just wondering, how do I prove that I did the right thing, and, you know, all this other stuff. And the process of being a seller here is really, really awesome, because I really think it's important that sellers focus on finding games and simply pricing them. Let us handle pretty much the rest of it, rather than doing all the stuff that we all hate to do as a seller, right? I experienced this for many years in my other professional job of live ticket events and consignment. And, you know, when I finally realized that if I, you know, outsource that other work with consignment companies and such and marketplaces, it freed me up to do a lot better at what I was good at, right? Let the people handle the, you know, the customers, that, you know, let them deal with those headaches, you know, let me focus on, you know, acquiring and, trying to focus on market and where it's going. So for sellers, that's what we want to be, is that convenience. And I've said before, you know, it's, you know, only sell with us if we're convenient, if it brings you convenience or more sales. And that's the only reason anyone would. So with that said, you know, say someone places an order, right? Buyer goes on, finds a game, hits buy. Then the order comes through to the seller. They sold the game. They get a shipping label. They ship it off to Minus Worlds. We take the game. We, you know, cleanly make sure everything's good, and we ship it to the buyer. After it hits delivered, the seller gets paid 14 days later after the delivery date. This gives us time to make sure everything's good. After that, that's in our terms and conditions, and why it's there is because, hey, there is a 1 out of a million thing, and we'll look into any kind of problems. And we do have a no return thing, but we do have to take care of our buyers. If something's really off, we have to look into it. And we want to make sure that we're doing the best we can for both sides of the transaction. So after 14 days, the buyer gets paid. In the beginning, I believe it's check, and then we will be doing ACH, direct to bank accounts. So to me, it's important that it's best for everyone. And that's the only reason I'm doing this whole project, set up this whole company. It's, it is its own entity. It's its own marketplace. Minus Worlds won't be buying games for itself. It won't be dabbling into that part. It's a marketplace, and it's to facilitate, transactions in video games specifically, to at least to start, and there'll be a few other things on this site, but we'll talk about them in a. So, that's pretty much the whole core of the site, is this marketplace where people can buy and sell comfortably and really just make it a great experience for everyone involved. And it's rare when you come into something like this where you could be at the right place at the right time. That's how I kind of feel about this. Like, I feel like I'm at the right place, the right time to do this with the right experience. And I've been, in my primary job, I did this for 10 to 15 years and been on every side of this equation, and which has led me to be able to, really work through these processes, and with that said, we have reached out to the authenticity companies, and we have, I believe, open lines with them. And if there's any problems, we could talk to them, and we hope to really be on top of all the, the evolving market to make sure that, everything goes as smooth as possible, as the grading companies want to. Everyone wants this to go seamlessly, and that's great, and that's how it should go, and there'll be other parts of the site that are going to be some fun. But again, to the core of the site, the buying and selling of video games, the processes are really something great, and we have put in place many processes to ensure that. Even there's more than that I'll kind of explain in time, but I'm happy to be able to freely talk about it because we're leading up to it. October 15th, that's the kickoff. That's when minusworlds.com, you go to that website, you can buy and sell video games. Now, there's a little bit of a process you have to apply to be a seller, but we do this to vet the people selling to make sure that they're going to abide by the rules. And people have asked, like, well, what if someone buys a game and then they just don't ship it? Well, we're going to have metrics that if sellers do that, they possibly might not be allowed to sell on the site again. We'll make it so people that do good stuff will have lower get more of their profits in. With that said, sellers will have a 0% rate. I know people are like, wait, what? No, sellers will have a 0% rate. How the company will make money, because that's the next question everyone will ask from there, is we will go from there, and when a seller goes to put in a price, they're going to put the net price. Sorry for that delay. They're going to be putting in the net price that they want out of the game. So, hey, they have a game, they want $100. They want to make $100 off this. Well, they put $100. Well, when it sells, they get $100. And to me, it's important that they know exactly when they're putting up the game, they know exactly the amount of money they're getting out of it. That is, to me, I wanted to figure out how to do fees that it was in a way that it was not hiding anything from the seller or buyer, that surprises them at one point. And that way for sellers, you put the price you want. And if we could get you that price, I think the sellers can be happy. Now, where the margin comes from that the company will make is we'll be adding when the seller puts in that net price of $100. Well, when the game shows up on the site, it might come up as $113. or $112. I got to be a little bit careful here because we're still working with the exact fee structure on this side. What happens is we bake in the buyer's fees. The buyer, any of the fees that cost for the company to just be in business or handling fees, that's baked into the price they see. And some places call it an all-in pricing model. And this makes it so when the buyer sees a price, they go to checkout, they don't have a bunch of fees added at the end. And that way, so they see the seller goes to list the price at 100. It shows up on the site at say 113. The buyer clicks checkout. Now, from there, the only thing that will be added will be sales tax and, local sales tax and shipping. And that way, there's no surprise for the buyer. And that's really important for me is I know nobody likes, if you buy off, say, somewhere like StubHub or Vivid Seats, you could be added 25-30% at the end or, something crazy. And, I don't remember their exact rates right now, but the thing that's important is you kind of get surprised and then you feel like you've gone down this so far, this rabbit hole that you're like, I'll just hit buy. And then you have a bad, you're like, that sucked. But we don't want that. So that's why we do baked in prices right in during the listing, because that way the seller knows exactly the price they're getting. There's no fees for them, 0%. And for the buyer, the fees they see is going to be already baked in. So they're not getting surprised by any fees, at the end. At least, fees we can avoid. We can't really avoid sales tax or shipping. That's just what it is. With that said, it's really important for me to keep these fees as low as possible. And, the goal is to keep it, between 10 to 15% overall, and keep a margin that we can be in business, make some money, but not be like, hey, this is a cash grab. We just want to be a good service. And that's important. I find, that way I could look people in the eyes and say, hey, we're trying to do the best as we can. And, this again it's built for the long term. And that's important to me that, this isn't something that, we'll probably not make anything for a long time, but that's cool with me because I think it's important that we establish ourselves and show our authenticity. It's really about that authenticity of, hey, we do care. We do want it done. We want it done right, and we want to do right by people. So, I hope to do that. And, and that's the core of minusworlds.com. And from there, I get to talk about a few fun things. These probably, these were not the most financially beneficial things to do for this site, but they're fun. And I think sometimes they're just the right thing to do for the community. To go off the right thing to do for the community, we're doing knowledge-based stuff. And, we're making guides. We're kind of taking the knowledge and education part very serious to try to expand this community. Again, new people come to the market, they need somewhere to go to learn. And there's so much great information out there. There's so many great people that have this information and willing to share it. We're going to be focusing on how to make it digestible. I want to be something that we're working on is certain guides to, hey, if you want to know the no Rev A games, it's really simple. It really is. And you could be able to, within 2 minutes, know more than what probably confused you for a year. Same with third-party hang tabs and many other things. So with that said, I'm hoping by the time this podcast actually drops that you could go to minusworlds.com, and on the landing page, we're not open for business yet, but on the landing page, we will have some of these new articles that no one's ever seen on the landing page. So you could look at a third-party hang tab guide, which, it's been, wanted for years. And you know what? It wasn't that hard. It wasn't. And luckily, people in the community help, and we're able to make this happen. And same thing with the No Rev A guide. We try to keep this to single pages. Yes, we understand there's people that want the whole scoop of all the different variants down to the itty bitty, but we want to start with the overall general stuff, and we will work to get to every part that we can to give everyone knowledge that, is looking for it, even the deep dive stuff. So the knowledge part's really fun. We have videos coming out about showing every kind of seam, and how they look. And I do have to make a disclaimer. We're not perfect. Don't use any of our information for investing. And, we're doing the best we can. And with that said, I just don't want us to get sued over someone buying a game because we said something that they found as an opportunity to sue us. I don't know. But, we're doing the best we can. Don't sue us. And anything knowledge based is honestly done with the best of our knowledge. But, do your own research, and I'd appreciate it if you don't sue us. But we'll be putting up videos that show, actually show some of these variants in different seams, which I think I'm shocked it hasn't been done yet, but we're doing it. And I'm very proud of them and really excited to show you guys. So with that said, the next thing that's a lot of fun, we went through doing some trademarks. And what's that mean? We will have t-shirts and stuff that we'll sell. And in the beginning, we're just pretty much spending too much money on them. We'll probably be losing money on most of them. But we went with some good companies, some great brands of t-shirt makers to really bring to market some really great apparel. And I'm really happy to kind of start making the brands that we might have forgot about, or even new ones, that kind of resonate with more people like myself who love video games. And you'll see it on the site by October 15th, but we're really working hard to do some fun stuff there. And, next thing, there's some art prints, hand signed, hand numbered, they're going to be limited runs, by some great artists. We're going to start off with one on October 15th. Price will be low. Again, another project we're probably going to lose. Well, we're losing money, but, but we made sure to pay the artist and make sure, to do it right. We want to, again, do everything as best as we can to do it right. And I'm really excited for, showing the debut of the art prints, because it was fun to work with an artist and with the company to really create something. That's something where on these side projects, it's about just kind of giving the community what we feel like is needed, to make it more fun, and I'm really excited about that. I'm trying to think. There's so much. There's one part of the site that will be about a month or two after our debut that I'm really excited about. That we're going to focus on an overall database, and I'm probably saying too much, but yeah, we're going to be working on that. Right when we're done with the site, it doesn't end. We're always going to be pushing forward. So, that's important as well. Is like, we don't build this and stop. We're going to keep building. And, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of problems that we don't foresee, but even past that, we're going to fix all that. And we have our developers literally have a map after this first thing to keep building, so, it's important to us that's, you guys know that it's being worked on at all times to keep on evolving and keep pushing the boundaries of this community and the marketplace and knowledge and all of that, because I find we love this stuff and we find it so important, for ourselves, and, we just hope to be a pillar, of this community that, people can lean on. I find it, it's such a scattered community and marketplace that we want to be a pillar of it, that we can try to do right and people can lean on us when needed, and we can hold our ground and hope to make everyone happy with this. And again, minusworlds.com, October 15th. And yeah, we're under 2 months away. So that's why I'm mentioning it on my personal Instagram. You will see that I will be listing the majority of my collection. I'm holding my favorite stuff, of course, but I've been hoarding tons of games. So, hundreds of games that will come out October 15th. People have been asking me for them, but I'm posting them with our logo on them, because that's who we're selling them, who I'm personally selling my collection with. I will be treated separate, just like everyone else when it comes to the marketplace. I'm like, the marketplace doesn't own any games. I have my separate thing of video games, and I'll be, my prices will, likely be the exact same as most. Again, we'll have large seller programs later on, but it's important that I have to go through the process so I see what's wrong too, and, that's important. I find, to be able to do this really well, Minus Worlds has to be, a separate entity, which it is, than, my personal, buying and selling. So, and, we've hired great people. We have people working every day on it. We have, a full-time employee, and, it's besides myself, of course. And, we have developers, we have researchers. There's just, it really is a big operation that we're really working around the clock to, make this something special. This is not something that, and it's been months in the working, and, screw the money part, it's just been, hundreds and, thousands of hours. I mean, I think the first time I thought about this was a year ago, and was slowly making mock-up pages back then and had them on the shelf, and then came back to them, and it developed over time. And it was important to me that, the confidence of what it can be, and it will be, is there. So that's why day one, we were going to do a whole, hey, there's X amount of users that are allowed, blah, blah, blah. No, it's open. We'll be beta testing before. We will be opening up, seller applications, I believe, in about, 3 weeks. We will make a post about that. And, it's going to be fun. It's going to be something special. And I really hope, you guys check it out. And I felt bad doing an episode like this just about Minus Worlds, because I was like, it'd kind of be fun if I just never said anything about Minus Worlds ever. Like, I thought it'd be kind of, that's just sometimes how, I like to do stuff, is like, hey, I love authenticity. So I try to figure out ways to be as authentic as possible. I thought maybe I just never say the words Minus Worlds and just pretend it's not mine. And not because I'm ashamed or anything like that. I just thought, hey, I don't want to use this platform to push, that other company onto anyone. But I'm so proud of what we're doing, that I can, look people in the eyes and be like, this is exactly what we're doing. And I think it's going to be best for everyone. One thing I do want to say, and I've mentioned it elsewhere, is there is times I do think listing an auction place is the best way to go for certain games. And there's still I think most people should list some of the rare high-end games there. And this is just for everything in between, I kind of find. And, I'm looking forward to selling, my games here. As, I have to be confident enough to really, I never want to mess up anything for other people. I really do care about other people's perspective. So, luckily I'm confident enough. I'm not just confident enough. I'm completely confident that this is going to be awesome. So, hope I make you guys proud. And, minusworlds.com, October 15th. If you have any questions, do not hesitate. You guys know how to get a hold of me. Dan64 on Instagram. I am Dan Elaleg on Facebook. We do on Tuesdays, we do a Clubhouse chat where always feel free just to jump in there and just ask. I'm always there on Tuesday evenings. We watch the Heritage Auction and just kind of hang out. But that's probably the best way to just kind of, hey, if you want to ask quite a few questions, just jump on. I think we jump on typically around 5:30 Pacific PM, and usually there till close to 7. And jump on there with us. Just hang out and, feel free to ask any questions. And that's, what this is about, is because we can't, we're transparent because we can be, which is really something great. But yeah, no, thank you for listening. I hope everyone's doing well. I know this is a little bit different of an episode. It's not an interview like typical, but I felt it was important to take the time to talk about this so I can explain it, and answer some questions that might be in the back of the head. What is this Minus Worlds thing? What is it planning to do? What is it planning to be? What happens if this happens, and really those processes have been thought out. I believe this is going to be great, and I really look forward to you guys checking it out. I mean, if you go there now, it's just our logo. But, if you go there now, there's our logo and some of the articles. And I'm really excited for you guys to see some of the articles. And with those articles, if there's something off on any of them that you have a question on, feel free to reach out. Like, this knowledge is ever changing, and it's important that we build on it. Really, this isn't the final product of this knowledge. It's not even a product, but it's a community-based thing where we build on it. So always feel free to reach out for that and, let us know. But thanks once again for listening. I hope to make you guys proud. And yeah, as always, enjoy the hunt.